Hi everyone, welcome back to Write Better Together with Peggyann Kennedy, and joining us today for Mechanics Monday is my lovely mother slash co-host, Kimberly Drummond.
Hello.
So last week we talked a little bit more about planning and kind of listing and all of that for your story, and I actually started my own little story too. And that actually inspired my mother, Kimberly Drummond, to start her own story. So, would you like to tell us a little about it?
Sure. I have not written a book before. I've written some stories and some poetry, but I thought while you were going through the Mechanics Monday and showing us how to do it from beginning, I'm going to jump in there and have fun and try along with all of you. And I encourage you to try to write a book with us. It's easy to try. Fun. Have a good time. Anyway, in my story, I did the brainstorming like Peggyann said and come up with several possible towns and ideas and picked the one I thought was the best. And I picked a lady who's recently divorced and going back to her homestead, old family homestead, and she decides to open up a Christmas shop in a small town and comes across some mysteries. And I decided the different characters, brainstormed who would help the story along. Her family, passed away grandparents, will figure in it prominently, as well as her parents and a boyfriend possibly come into the mix, and shopkeepers, and got some ideas going for that.
That sounds really exciting. Do I have your permission to share where it's from?
Yes, sure.
Or the
Yeah,
setting, I mean?
yeah.
So, her story is going to be set in Ellerby, North Carolina, as well as the PD River region and maybe a little bit of Rockingham. And I was born in Ellerby, North Carolina, so that makes it really special for me. And you were born in Charlotte, North Carolina, so
Yes, yes.
we know the PD River area really well. So I'm really excited to see where your story goes and to learn more about your
Well,
characters.
I'm enjoying it and gonna have fun writing along with all of you.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. So she's got her basic ideas and her setting and a little bit about her characters so far. So today we're going to talk a little bit about character development. And I encourage you all to open up your journals and notebooks and to write along with us to, maybe start your own planning or kind of work on some of your characters as well. So again, today we're going to be working on character development. And one thing I want to talk about are character tropes. That's basically something that you see a lot in fiction to the point of maybe being a little cliche. Like, for example, the strong silent type, like maybe Edward Cullen from Twilight, the chosen one, the hero, that sort of thing. Those can be a little cliche, but I think that it's good to have them in fiction sometimes. Sometimes you do need that one specific character role, and as long as you make it your own, I think it's really good. And especially if you like parody that role or reverse it. So like one really cute joke I saw on Big Bang Theory was the idea that the Buffy the vampire slayer and reverses the whole girls being chased versus the girl chasing. So like usually the girl's running away from the monsters, but this time she's actually chasing the monsters. So I really like that. And a good parody is always fun too.
It makes it more interesting to have the unexpected.
It really does.
Can you give us some examples of some common tropes in stories other than what you've given already?
Let's see. I know like Harry Potter would be the chosen one, I think. I'm pretty sure that he was. And then the hero, I'm thinking maybe King Arthur, something of that sort. And there's kind of the hedonistic jerk kind of character, which would be Dorian Gray, I think. So does that make sense?
So it's okay to use tropes at times.
Yes,
They're not to be avoided always.
definitely. As long as you make it your own and kind of develop your character your own way, your own style, your own voice, that is totally fine. So yeah, but it is something to be wary of to watch the cliches a little. And also to give your main characters and all of your characters flaws and things that kind of make them feel a little more human and keep them from being perfect, this person on a pedestal, which is not very relatable, and readers rapidly lose interest in that. So you want your character to feel a little relatable. That was actually something John Myers mentioned to me. He suggested to me that while we were writing a story together, that one of my characters have my issue, my gastroparesis chronic illness. So that is actually a really good plot point because your character is dealing with this issue, this flaw, or whatever it is. So it adds to some of the plot, the
It gives more
conflict.
complexity to the character and depth,
Yes.
and you relate, like you said.
Adds to the emotions and such.
Also helps with your show, Not Tell, you were talking about.
Yes, I really want to do a podcast in the near future, maybe next week, maybe not, we'll see, about show, not tell, and descriptions, and be sure to, not just say for example, the character was sad, and so if John Doe was sad, instead maybe say he wiped his eyes or his cheeks, something like that, and describe the actions, not just saying it out loud, pretty much. And
so if they've learned the character and know the character traits, they'll know the different tales that they're getting.
Yes, tales, that's a good way of putting it. Mm-hmm. And also little interesting habits. Maybe they grind their teeth, or I don't know, chew on their lips. I know in MASH, the old TV episode series, Hawkeye would always snip his food before he ate. So that's something kind of interesting. And yeah, so also for what's up? Were you about to say something?
I was just going to say that's part of what I need to work on between now and next week to develop my characters with those sorts of traits.
Yeah, and also watch out for emotions too. Let your characters experience a broad range of emotions. The more emotions that you can get into a story, the better it is, and the more real the characters feel.
But I think you mentioned last week something about knowing your character, everything about them.
Yes.
We need to know their shoe size and birthday, what makes them mad.
Right, what would make them sad.
If they have allergies, everything you can think of, you need to know.
Right, a lot of that would come in handy if something, I don't know, you can always fit some of that into the story somehow. And
well, you're definitely going to write a character better that you know really well.
Exactly. Kind of like you can write a setting or a place that you know really well. If you know your character really well, too, that helps a lot, definitely. And I also wanted to talk a little tiny bit about villains because they're really fascinating and fun to write about. And also antagonists. They're a little bit different. Sometimes they're the same, sometimes not. All villains are antagonists, but not all antagonists are villains. Basically, the villain is the malicious one, the evil one. He's the Green Goblin or the Lex Luthor, I guess, the evil one, fully evil, fully monstrous, maybe not human, I guess, if you're writing fantasy. Um, but the antagonist can be anyone or anything that opposes your protagonist, your main character's goals. So this doesn't have to be an evil monster. It can be your main character's best friend or sister, even something of that sort. So that's always something to keep in mind.
An interesting story I want to share on Peggyann. When she was a little girl and we would go to Disney, she always liked the villain. She would go run up to them and hug their necks. The other children would run screaming and wouldn't want to go see them, but Peggyann loved them.
And I remember staring up at them, and they would try to intimidate me and get in my face, but I would just stare up at them like, hi.
She did.
I love you.
Yes.
So I don't know what that says about me. So yeah.
If you're a psychologist, let us know in the comments.
Yes, please. I might need to see somebody after hearing that story again. Need to call up a therapist. So yeah. What's up? Sorry. Let's see. Yeah, so I think
okay, so we know that we're going to work on our character development by next week. We're going to know everything that we can think of about our characters, flaws included, maybe if we're going to make the character a villain or not.
Right, so I encourage you to kind of get out your notebooks this week and possibly kind of work on brainstorming about your characters and everything that you can think of about them. Maybe some names, draw out some of the baby article names and stuff.
We'll work on our main characters first, but then if we have time, we'll branch out to some of the minor characters too and develop them as much as we can.
Yes.
The next week you said we might do show and tell, and then maybe the next week, what would be our next stage for our writing?
Let's see. I might actually get into the actual writing process, like how to start maybe the first page or the first sentence, something of that sort, because it's good to brainstorm all you can, but you don't want to get stuck in that stage. You need to start writing as soon as possible because that's kind of where the magic happens, and it's easy to get stuck for years and years on the brainstorming and planning stage, and it's also easy to get stuck when you're writing in the editing stage, which is one of my issues, but just keep writing. And yeah, so that'll be one thing that we'll talk about in the near future, probably after next week, hopefully.
That sounds good.
So yeah.
And I know that Wednesday she has a really good writer.
Yes, please join us this upcoming Wednesday for Writers Wednesday. I will be interviewing Dr. Boris Streluk. He's a professor at the University of Tulsa, and he has some very incredible stories. He's a fascinating man, and I've always really enjoyed every class of his that I've taken. He's a translator, a little bit of a critic, and a poet, so he's very fascinating, and I highly recommend the watch. I loved talking with them, and I think you'll enjoy the interview as well. So yeah, and also please join us for Fun Friday as well, and next Mechanics Monday. So yes,
And please
please
hit a like button and
subscribe,
yeah, and
definitely
subscribe.
comment. We love comments.
Yes,
Definitely.
yeah, please do comment. If there's anything else you'd like to see covered, let Peggyann know.
Yes, please do. I want to help as much as possible, and I want to encourage all of you that you can write, and if I can write, you can too.
If I can write, you can write for sure. We'll
Yes,
do it together.
definitely. So please let us know how I can be of more help to you. So thank you very much for watching,
And
and
happy writing.
happy writing.
Bye.
And we couldn't have done it without you.
Bye.